2022, one of the benchmark years for horror movies. Lots of hopes that 2023 is going to be the same. And to kick it off, one of the first movies is M3GAN. I'm here with Jesse and Dave to review it. We also have Jade from Agents of Fandom to help us talk about this movie. Did we like it? Did we hate it? Or should it be dismantled? Right now on Hometown Ghost Stories. All right, we are all here ready to talk about this movie, about a killer American brat slash Barbie slash, Chucky. There's like this gigantic hybrid of things going on with this doll movie. And to do that, like I said in the opening, we brought on Jade from Agents of Fandom. Jade, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I know you said that, like, when we were talking about which movie to do, you were like, have you seen M3GAN yet? I have thoughts. And I was like, okay, well, this is clearly the movie we need to do then. So we're going to be talking about M3GAN. As always, I'm also joined by Dave Wilkins.
What's going on? I saw this movie like less than 24 hours ago.
Then it's fresh in your mind.
It is
and
fresh.
I'm also joined by Jesse Wilkins, as always.
Yes, I also watched it less than 24 hours ago. And thanks to me, Dave woke back up to continue watching the movie. We watched it in Discord together so I could see him sleeping. I was like, Dave, no, we're losing him.
And that doesn't mean a movie's good or bad. This is a classic Dave trope.
I'm a narcoleptic.
Dave will fall asleep at any
undiagnosed.
Yeah. We used to go to the movies, Jade, and he would fall asleep in the movie theater. And we don't go to the movies together anymore because I don't like to be embarrassed.
That's fair.
It's dark. Nobody can see.
Dave would drive, also dangerous. While driving.
I like that you're throwing Dave under the bus for that when you used to do it all the time on the way home from the casino.
But this is because you'd make me drive. We don't have to talk about it.
All right. Well, let's get into this movie. Dave, do you have the synopsis for this movie?
Yes, I do. M3GAN, 2023, directed by Gerard Johnstone. M3GAN is a marvel of artificial intelligence. A lifelike doll that's programmed to be a child's greatest companion and a parent's greatest ally. Designed by Gemma, a brilliant roboticist, M3GAN can listen, watch, and learn as it plays the role of a friend and teacher, playmate, and protector. When Gemma becomes the unexpected caretaker of her 8-year-old niece, she decides to give the girl a M3GAN prototype, a decision that leads to unimaginable consequences.
So, first thing I want to ask everybody. I see this name a lot in movies and television shows. Have any of you ever met a Gemma in real life? Is this a thing that happens?
No, I don't think so.
Not in real life.
Right?
It does sound familiar, but I think it's only familiar because of movies and shows. So
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I
Nobody's
was thinking of, yeah.
nobody's ever met a Gemma in their life, but we can talk about the movie now.
That's fine. So I didn't have high expectations for this movie for a few different reasons. Number one, PG-13 slasher doesn't work for me ever. I don't think I've ever given a high rating to a PG-13 slasher because, it's just for obvious reasons. It doesn't work. It's never worked. I also didn't have high expectations because I feel like movies that come out, or horror movies that come out in January, usually are not good historically. So those two things. And Jason Blum, I'm not a big fan of a lot of his movies. His movies are almost always bad. He's got a few good ones, but they're, I think, more bad than good. So these three things, I was like, I'm not going to like this movie. But I watched it and I actually did have fun watching it. It was a fun movie. There was a lot of interesting aspects to it. There was a lot of also predictable aspects on the negative side. But for the most part, I had fun. I was a little bit surprised. It was a little better than I thought it was going to be. But there were obviously some things that were very wrong with it.
All right, Jade, we know you have some thoughts. So I want you to start unloading the clip on this movie.
Yeah. So for me, I also didn't really have high expectations going in, but I did have some expectations. I figured it was going to be just a silly slasher where there's a killer doll where, we've heard this story time and time again, killer doll on the loose, just wreaking havoc on a city. And I was hoping for a lot more. I think I was really hoping for a lot, like a higher body count. I was kind of ready for these like just wild kills. Maybe not necessarily like a lot of gore because it is PG-13, but I was expecting like just some off the wall, balls to the wall kills, crazy storyline. You know what I mean? Not anything particularly good. That's like necessarily cinematically, but I was really expecting a lot more. I personally didn't really have that much fun watching it, and that was what hurt me the most, I think.
That's fair. But I mean, for me, going into it with the PG-13 rating, I was not expecting any crazy kills. So my expectations were already on the floor. So there weren't a lot of kills, but I wasn't expecting it. So it was kind of, I thought it was a little bit fun watching it. I liked the sci-fi angle. I liked the AI angle, you know, more. They did that in the Chucky remake, the Child's Play remake, didn't they? So
yeah.
But yeah, this was definitely not an original movie. It was kind of like Child's Play meets Terminator, you know?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a
meets
fun
Iron
concept.
Man and a couple others. I thought it was solid. I mean, again, it exceeded my expectations. I agree with you, Jade. I think there could have been more bodies. It doesn't have to necessarily be more gruesome, but I think if this trend had picked up, like the mother didn't, or the aunt, she didn't have to see all of the kills or find out about all the kills or have it be right on her doorstep and have the police investigating her over every single one. She could have been going around killing people throughout the movie that, you know, they didn't really know about it at first, and then maybe they string them together. So I think there could have been a higher body count. I agree with that, but it definitely exceeded my expectations, and it was fun. And if you look at it, it's listed kind of as like horror / thriller / comedy, because there was a good comedic aspect as well. There was a few times in the movie where I specifically was laughing out loud. I was like, this is actually hilarious, and not just laughing at the movie, but laughing with the movie. So I give them a little bit of credit for that. There were definitely some cringy moments, and it could have used an R rating and been a lot more gory, and it would have been such a better movie because the doll was creepy enough. It was unbelievably creepy. The kills were kind of brutal, but you kind of didn't see a lot of it, but you just assumed what happened, right? So, by the way, spoiler-filled review as always. But in the kill scene where she's spraying the neighbor with the toxic the chemicals or whatever. Like if that was an R-rated movie, you're watching skin peel from her face and all this kind of stuff. That would have been a particularly gruesome and horrifying scene. And, you know, they had to skip some of that. So obviously to keep that PG-13 rating, but
it literally would have changed it from like a softcore slasher to an extreme horror. That one scene.
I
elevated
think
horror.
one thing I'll say about that. So I went into it probably with even lower expectations than all of you. I expected nothing out of this movie for all the reasons you said. And I thought it looked silly. And I know it's got ties to Malignant. I don't know, Jade, how you feel about the movie Malignant. We're very divided on that movie here.
I know, it's very polarizing.
I thought it was one of the worst movies ever. And
Okay.
Dave liked it a lot. So I went in with like real low expectations on it.
This is why I refuse to watch the movie, because then it's going to be like a divorced parent situation. I might have to pick between Rob and Dave, who I want to live with. There's absolutely no reason for me to move in with them, but I feel like if I watch that movie, I'm going to have to pick. I'm going to have to move in with you guys.
Yes, well, then I hope you like it, because please don't move in here. So
Dave doesn't even have a house right now. That's the only room in his house.
I know. So with it being a PG-13 slasher, I think in terms of the kills, they pushed it to the boundaries of that PG-13, specifically with the one kid in the forest with the ears. Now, that whole thing was gruesome. It's one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen. Just grabbing
he was the kid with the ears?
Yeah, just grabbing the ear and just like stretching it all the way out. Like
It was actually brutal, yeah.
it was pretty brutal to see that particular thing. And then they followed it up with the dumbest fucking part of the entire movie, where she starts running on all fours and you're just like, what? Why is this a Transformers movie? What is happening right now? Why is this a thing?
She could have just ran fast.
Yeah, could have just run fast. He's super strong, right? Like, why are we?
It was meant to be like a creepy scene, and it was just goofy as hell. Like, I agree with you.
It was so funny. I was laughing out loud because that you see it in the trailer too. So it's like, oh, this is where she's about to keel over and start hopping along.
Yeah, I feel like they were going for like a cheetah / crawling tarantula type thing. It just absolutely didn't work, and it didn't need to. If you think back to like Terminator 2, when you had like the Terminator that like melted through walls and stuff, when he's just running super fast, that's all they had to do. Just have him run fast. They run faster than humans because they're made out of titanium, and just have it run a little bit like a robot.
It's a robot.
Yeah. They're built
Exactly.
to do this, right? Like, yeah, exactly. We've seen them happening in real life. This is going to be in the real world in about 3 years, and we're all going to die. So I'm glad we're getting this movie review out of the way right now before it happens.
I
But
think the only thing that would have been worse there is if like she had wheels that came out of like her feet and she just rolled really fast.
just an Inspector Gadget robot all of a
With, like
sudden.
rockets on the back.
Make sure to put her helmet on first, though. Like, just
That actually would have been awesome.
That actually,
Anything
that
would have been
would've
better
been-
than what they did in that scene. So.
yeah.
That was so bad.
So one thing on the rating, real quick, because this movie. One thing I did actually read about it was that this movie was shot as a rated R movie, and then last minute they decided to
Right.
change it to PG-13, so they made cuts. They cut stuff out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a rated R director's cut version come out in the near future, which could be a game changer. Could be a really cool movie if you add in some of that gore. So I don't know why they made that just abysmal. I don't know why they do that. I mean, I do know why they do this. It's to put asses in seats, but it just sucks every time.
It makes sense for this movie though, because I feel like you're marketing this sort of as like a first slasher movie for teenagers. Like this is like one of the ones.
I had mentioned this to Dave yesterday. This could be a good like intro to horror for his kids or whoever.
Yeah, just a way to like bring people in. Like, because if it's too scary, then you don't want to bring them further than this movie, and you want to be able to bring teenagers. Do teenagers go to the movies anymore like we used to when we were younger? Is that a thing still?
Yes.
I
I don't know. Do they? Yeah.
Yes.
So-
I just saw Puss in Boots for the second time in theaters last weekend or this past weekend.
Mhm.
So many teenagers there, which it was fine because I'm happy to see people still going to the movies, but
Right.
teenagers still go to the movies, I promise.
Right.
That's good.
So there you go. That it helps market it. It helps make it so that you can sell it. It fits for that general
Generation.
audience, generation, that audience, everything. Now I thought I had some fun with this movie. Here's my biggest problem with this entire movie. The rule that we established for M3GAN was that she was killing because the girl was her primary user and she was there to protect her primary user, right? And I feel like half the kills throughout the movie, I know she's evolving and she's becoming like like protecting herself as well, but
Self-aware. Yeah.
but I think that you should have stuck with the premise that she was only killing to protect the little girl. Whatever the reasoning is, how messed up it is, it could be something super small.
But then we have less kills, and we already have so few kills in this.
Why?
movie.
You can add reasons. They can be small reasons. That CEO, there's a million ways you could have added for the reason why he was quote unquote threatening the little girl. It didn't have to make like
Oh yeah, maybe like she wanted to leave the campaign. Maybe he threatened her for not wanting to be the spokesperson anymore. That could have worked. I think you're right about that.
super easy ways to do this, right? And I think that's the way they should have stuck with it. The other big problem is we all knew that giant robot was coming back into play in the morning. It was like the worst.
Super predictable.
It was the worst foreshadowing of all time, right?
Yeah.
Like, of all time, you're watching like, oh, so that's going to be the robot that they used to kill
I
M3GAN
said it.
or something.
I said it when it happened last night. I was like, that's coming back later in the movie.
Yeah,
I know
I
that.
literally had the conversation. So I had watched it first with the wife a few nights ago, and as soon as they panned across the robot, I'm like, that one's going to save the day. And she's like, you're probably right. Everything in this movie was unbelievable. There wasn't a single thing that surprised me. I think the only thing that surprised me was that his ear stretched so far in that forest scene. I was like, wow,
Yes.
it's more stretchy than I thought it would be, and probably more stretchy than it really would be.
Yeah.
But
I was not expecting that kid to be so pliable.
learn something new every day. Extremely predictable.
I think one of the glaring issues with this movie, and it's a giant negative for me, is it had no real identity. There's too many things going on. So is it a horror slasher? Is it a comedy? Or is it a movie that's supposed to tug at your heartstrings with the tragedy? You know, are we talking about family values and, you know, how children deal with death? It's a pretty serious topic. And then to mix it in with the comedic aspect that they ran with and then the slasher, it was just too much going on. And I feel like you could have pulled it off with any two of those things, right? Not all three. All three, it's a mess.
And
So-
weirdly, the drama was some of the best stuff in the movie. That scene where they're like doing the showcase to the board members, and she's in there and she starts crying, and Megan goes over and like talks to her. Actually, a really good scene for a movie all around. I thought like the way that they did that scene. But yeah, like maybe we get rid of some of the comedy. Maybe we don't have the giant robot fight at the end. It just
a little unnecessary. Well, Dave brought this up as an issue with the movie too last night when we were watching it, was that the girl who played Katie, Violet McGraw, she's the best actress in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. Or best actor in general in the movie. Like she's the best. And when you have a child actor as the best actor in your movie, it's cool because it's strong, but it's the whole movie's not going to be great because there really weren't that many good actors. I thought the girl who played the aunt, Allison Williams, I think she was fine. The girl who played Gemma, but there was a lot of really bad actors in the movie, and it didn't go well. Ronnie Chang, who played David, was god awful in the movie. Yeah. Although he had the best line in the whole movie, and it was quick. I had to have Dave rewind it because he didn't catch it right away. I don't know if you guys caught this line either, but it was when he's doing like the infomercial for M3GAN or whatever. And he's like, and they show the clip of Katie, and she's talking about how her parents died, and he's like, M3GAN is going to be the best toy for hundreds of thousands of kids out there, even ones who don't have dead parents.
Yeah.
And it was just like, dude, what a line.
I would say,
he was god awful in the movie though.
It might not even be a case of bad acting. I thought they did a really poor job fleshing out any characters. Like they do this whole like little side plot where the guy's stealing the files, but like for no reason.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens with it. Like why didn't you have him like bringing it to another company? If you want to set up a sequel, they have the plans to build this doll now.
Oh, there you go. Maybe that's why they were doing it, but they did a really poor job of even trying to explain that. Like who's he giving the files to? He just copied them.
Yeah. They said he was just doing it just to see if he could do it. And it's just like, oh, okay. Right? Like what are we doing there? Like they just didn't give the actors anything other than the main two stars of the movie. Like just there's no character development for any of them. Her two friends are real throwaway characters. I don't even remember their names from the movie. They didn't get a chance to shine at all. They had nothing to work with. It was real tough. And then
it wasn't for a lack of time either. I think this movie was too long.
I was just about to ask what the runtime was.
It was it was an hour 41.
Okay.
So, which is like 10, 15 minutes too long.
Yeah. For this kind of movie, I think, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably could have trimmed some of the beginning. Speaking of the beginning, I just want to throw out as people, I'm not exactly sure where you're from, Jade, in relation to snow. As people that deal with snow, you would never sit in the middle of the road and wait out a snowstorm. That is the incorrect way to do anything with snow. You don't just sit in the middle of the road.
Yeah, it's not even the fact that they could get snow plowed like they did. It's just like everyone's gonna hit you from all angles. Like you gotta get out of the road.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
Yeah.
Best thing for me is we live in Massachusetts. I drove a Mustang for years, and this was by far the worst car in the snow possible. Like it actually might have been the worst car just in general, but also in the snow. Like rear wheel drive, just everything you don't drive in Massachusetts.
Don't sue us, Ford.
But because I drove that car for a couple of years in the snow, I have now become expert at driving in the snow. Because when you drive the worst possible car in the snow, you learn how to do it. But yeah, never in a million years would you just put the car in park.
Yeah,
it's a whiteout storm. Let's just stop the car.
Let's just stop.
Yeah.
Let's just be right in the way for everyone.
let's just sit here. And what happened was exactly what would happen. You would just get absolutely mashed by a plow truck. So yeah, I think they could have cut some of the opening of this movie to get it down a little bit. Were you guys sitting there like looking at the little girl like, where do I know her from? For like half the movie?
Haunting of Hill House.
I knew that from the beginning, from the trailers.
I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember right away. I'm like, I know her from something, and it's something I've watched about 17 times. So you think I would have picked it up because it's like my favorite horror thing in the last, 5-6 years that's come out.
She's been in other stuff too. I can't think of what else off the top of my head.
She was in a random car commercial. Didn't even have any lines. I'm just like, why is she back there? Why is she in the car? Fun fact.
Just waiting for a ghost to pop out or something. Is there anything else you guys wanted to hit on in this movie particularly?
I just want to see M3GAN end up fighting Chucky one day because I know it's gonna happen, and then I'll be here for that. As much as I didn't really care about this movie afterward, I'll be seated for that.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. I'm not sure if Dave and Jesse have seen that remake where they actually made Chucky a robot. I thought when that movie originally came out, everyone was like, this would have been a fine movie if it wasn't a Chucky movie. Like you're killing what the series is. And I feel like maybe Blumhouse was like, oh, if that's what you feel like, then we'll make that movie without Chucky. And that's kind of what they did here. And now people are still kind of like on the fence about it. Do you think without the Chucky name that remake is better than this movie?
That's hard to say because I actually ended up enjoying that movie. And I think that movie did have an R rating. So again, more kills, a little bit more gruesome. And it's based on a character that I love. So I already had that kind of tie to it. I thought it was good for what it was. It's hard to say what it would be like if it didn't have the Child's Play name to it, but I still liked it. I think I haven't watched it since I think it released. So however many years ago now, but I think from what I remember, I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed M3GAN.
Gotcha.
So.
Dave, did you
0% chance that any Child's Play was not rated R?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's no, they would never. They would never.
Well, they're airing a TV show on, USA Network with the original.
I've heard that's pretty good.
I've watched the first season. Actually, a lot of fun. If you like the original, 2 Child's Plays, you really like this. And for me, that Child's Play, I was in the camp that if this was any other, doll, this movie would have been great. It's like when they recast Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. It's like Robert Englund just is Freddy Krueger. Right. Brad Dourif is Chucky to me. And I love Mark Hamill, and that's who did the voice as the remake for Chucky. But just switching from let's be honest, the Chucky story is batshit insane. Souls going into dolls here and there. It makes zero sense. But it's kind of why I like it. It's just that is what Child's Play is. So when they try to make it more real with the AI and it being like a robot type situation, it just kind of fell a little flat in that aspect. But Aubrey Plaza was great in that movie. The kills were great in that movie. It was actually a good movie if it wasn't Child's Play. So it's probably still a better movie than M3GAN. But yeah, I'm down. Let's get a Chucky versus M3GAN fight going.
Let's toss Annabelle in there too.
Yeah.
Do
some
I've only seen a couple
stuff.
of these verse movies, but are these versus movies ever any good?
No, they're amazing.
They're fun.
I mean, I liked Freddy versus Jason.
Amazing.
Say what you will about that. I love Freddy versus Jason.
What
Alien versus Predator.
Alien versus Predator. I liked it. I don't care. Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay,
I don't care.
It's fun,
I just
but it's not
see
hard,
things
right?
fight.
It's more like action, right? You want an action movie. So I think what this movie needs, if it's going to continue, if there's going to be M3GAN 2, it needs the R rating. It needs the creepy factor. There was enough creepiness with this movie where I think it has potential. Again, this movie exceeded my expectations. I thought it was better. I found this movie to be, it just wasn't scary, but there were moments where it really could have been, when you have just the look of just the doll just staring out the window and just kind of the nothingness in her face. There was potential for this movie to be really creepy. There just wasn't enough dark scenes, too much comedy, too many songs. It was just.
All right, we missed one important scene. Why was she dancing in the hallway? Why are we doing this scene?
I know
it's that's literally why they did that. It is literally why they did that scene, right? They did it because of TikTok. There's no other.
It made me laugh. I mean, at that point in the movie, I was like, this is goofy anyways. Just keep getting goofier.
It just was oh my God. I don't know. I was just floored.
I think you got to keep in mind that, because they had a few scenes like this. It wasn't just the dancing scene, but there was a couple really just out of nowhere singing scenes where she's just singing Titanium to the girl when she's going to bed, right? Then there was another singing scene where just at no moment where you're oh, that's sweet. You're this is kind of creepy and kind of stupid, but you got to remember that this thing is supposed to be a kid's toy, right? It's supposed to sing. It's supposed to do stupid dances. It's supposed to color pictures with you. By the way, She used 3 markers to color that unbelievable portrait of that girl. That was nonsense.
Primary colors. That's all you need is the primary colors. You can make any color out of them.
Okay, I want to see you draw that portrait with
I
3
am
fucking
not
markers,
an
Dave.
artist.
I like that every episode is devolving into Jesse's art takes on some level. Like he's just hitting on different art things throughout our shows.
I'm really not, though. See, I'm not, because I don't know anything about art. But I can tell you that drawing that she made would have taken more than 3 colors.
That's fair. So I think we've actually established what the second movie does need to be. And as someone that doesn't like when movies randomly go this route, they need to make this a musical slasher for the second movie and just go completely bonkers with it. Just full on.
It worked for Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd was great.
Yeah.
Yes, go that route. Like just make it a complete slasher slash the stuff to do that together.
Slasher
I don't like
slash
that.
Musical.
You're doing
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we got there.
All right, Jade, you're the new host. Rob just had a stroke.
All right. So with all that being said, with all the dancing, with all the singing, with some of the good kills, some of the not good kills, story that's meh. Let's get some scores here. Jade, as our guest, do you want to lead us off here?
Sure. For me, I'm going with what I rated it on Letterboxd, and I stick to those ratings out of 5. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I wouldn't say it's the worst movie I've ever seen, or the worst horror movie, or worst horror comedy I've ever seen, but it's certainly not fun enough for me to really care about. I think again, maybe we'll see. Could change my mind, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
I think
Dave.
it's a reasonable score. I have this at a 3.5. I had fun watching it. Obviously, it had a ton of stuff that I didn't like about it that I thought it had, wrong with it. But I did enjoy it enough to give it a 3.5. And I think this makes a better sci-fi movie than it does a horror movie. And if they went a little bit more the sci-fi angle, I think it could have got a higher score. But they went with the slasher with the PG-13. Have any of you guys seen Ex Machina?
Love that movie.
So good. It's A24. It's
Yep.
strictly sci-fi, not horror. But
I was thinking that the whole time you guys were talking about that. Exactly.
yeah, go watch
And how
that.
scary that movie is for how minimal it is.
It almost feels like this would also be a good shorten it down to an hour and make it a Black Mirror episode type deal, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
You'd have
Where-
to skip a lot of the story, but you could.
I don't know if you'd have to skip a lot of the story. I think you could really establish it within an hour. Where are you at with this, Jesse?
I'm gonna go 2.9 with it. I did enjoy it, but it really lacked the scare factor. It did have a little bit of the creep factor, but not enough. Dude, have her do a kill right before she does that dance, and if she's doing that dance with blood all over her, all of a sudden it's terrifying and not stupid.
And it's rated R then. You can't
I
do
know,
it.
but it was
PG-13
so
movie.
close.
Yeah.
Give her the black blood from Black Christmas. Whatever, just put something. Just do that, or have her do that. Okay,
Don't ever try to pull anything from Black Christmas 2019.
that's obviously a joke. No, but okay. What they did do to her though is they almost cut her face in half. They pulled out some of her hair. If they did the dancing scene after she looked like that and she looked creepy already, then it could work.
Oh yeah,
Instead,
so it's
throw blood all over her, never do it.
sort of like she's malfunctioning and she goes into her like little dance thing. That could
Yeah, or
be,
the dance is a little messed up. Yeah,
the music's
Also- oh my
kind of
God,
altered.
All right, I gotta bump it down a little bit. We're gonna go from 2.9 down to 2.7 because a fucking glass of water caused her to malfunction at the end of the movie.
That's
Like-
okay.
like you
I
didn't-
forgot about that.
This doll
That's
is supposed
so
to
true.
withstand like all these crazy elements. Like, what if the girl wants to take the doll swimming with her?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't build
You
in a
shouldn't take electronic swimming with you.
What if it rains? Like,
yeah.
Well, and
exactly.
the doll's made for kids, and kids are gross and messy. So
Mhm.
I like it.
yeah, but our
T-shirt. Kids
iPhone
are
has
gross.
better resistance than this,
Literally a glass
$10,000
of water.
doll. Also, they were talking about how much it cost to build her. They were saying that it was over like 100,000, and then they're selling it for 10,000. That math doesn't check out. Where are we at with that math right now? Like, it didn't make any sense. I'm gonna give it a 3.3. I don't think you should go out of your way to see this movie. I don't think you should go to the movie theater to see it. But I think if you're home on a Friday or Saturday night, it's on HBO Max or whatever it's streaming on, and you're with a you're with one or a couple other people, and you're like, let's watch this. I haven't seen it. I think it's a fine movie to watch with somebody else. I wouldn't go out of my way like as soon as it drops to watch it, though. It's just one of those movies that if it's there, I would watch it. But yeah, I think it wasn't terrible. It could have been a little bit better, so I'll go with a 3.3. Do we have any closing thoughts on this movie, everybody?
I don't think so. I am surprised that you went 3.3. I thought you were going to go a lot lower.
Me?
Yep.
I thought it was fine. I like it is the epitome of fine to me. Like, it's just like, it was there. I think I would have went lower if I didn't already have low expectations going into it.
That's how that's how I was.
So that's probably why I'm at a 3.3. If I rewatch it, I bet you I would bump it down to like a 2.4, 2.3 or something like that.
After the first time, then every other time you watch the movie, you're just looking for the things that are wrong with it, which you will find more than you thought there were. Jade, anything you want to plug, social media or your show? Or
yeah, so you can find me at Twitter on Jade Rafalo, at Jade Rafalo. It's just my name. I also work with Agents of Fandom. It's just Agents Fandom on Twitter, and then Agents of Fandom on all other social medias. We're working on getting more articles out. One of our girls is covering The Last of Us. If you guys are watching that, she's covering it week by week, and that's kind of our big thing right now. But that's it. That's me. I'm just here to talk about movies and shows and have a good time.
Yeah, and I was on Agents of Fandom last week for the Ant-Man episode. That was a lot of fun with TJ and a bunch of other guys. So looking forward to the Ant-Man movie. Jade,
Yes.
you were great. Anytime you want to come on, especially if you're sending me like, I need to talk about this movie with angry faces, I'm all for it. Like anytime we can blast a movie.
I'll plug this last article that I just wrote. It's my 10 most anticipated horror movies that are supposed to come out this year. A couple of them, not sure if they will drop this year, but hopefully they will. So go check that out. Maybe we can talk about one of those another time.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll throw
give us a teaser. What's the number one that you're anticipating coming out?
So I didn't put them in a particular order. I just went with 10 movies that I had found that are coming out. But number one, that's my only one that's like ranked, is Beau is Afraid.
Yeah.
Coming out A24, Ari Aster's third movie. I'm excited. And Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, come on.
I'm going into that blind. I
Me too.
only have seen the artwork for it. I haven't seen anything else on it. I don't want to see anything else on it.
I watched the trailer release, and it looks like it's gonna hurt my head the entire time, and that's all I'm planning on watching before the release. So
nice.
Yeah, the jury's out on Ari Aster for me. I liked Hereditary and I hated Midsummer, so we'll see.
I liked Midsummer.
I like both.
It was a wild ride. Yeah,
but yeah, Hereditary is
like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right, Jade, I'm gonna throw a curveball, and I'm gonna ask you to rate a movie, real quick. Black Christmas 2019.
I have never seen it.
Oh my God, Jade.
Next time.
When you watch that movie, we don't have to do a show or anything. Just message me.
All right.
Tell me what you think about that movie, because
You got it.
It is you want to talk about a polarizing movie. That movie is overly polarizing.
I don't think it's polarizing.
That's true. It is kind of not polarizing. It is pretty much universally hated. So,
sounds good.
yeah. All right. Well, for myself, for Dave, for Jesse, and for Jade, that's going to do it for this episode of Hometown Ghost Stories Movie Reviews. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jesse Wilkins here, Hometown Ghost Stories. Hope you enjoyed that episode. For more bonus side content episodes, swing on over to Patreon. Get early access to this stuff, as well as some Patreon exclusive stuff. For as little as $3 a month, you can join on Patreon and help support the crew. We put a lot of money, effort, resources into these videos, and every little dollar helps. So consider it. Also, swing on over to the Discord. On the Discord, you can get access to us. You can contact us. You can share your stories, share your ghost pictures. It's just a better way to contact us. So swing on over to Discord. The link is below. It is free to join, completely free. Also, here are some other episodes that you can check out. Boom. Check out those videos. really cool stuff. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.